fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
3 reasons why you are not where you want to be in life right now. Hey everyone, I'm Joe Simons. Like diamonds, back again, Salt Strong Unchurched, and this is going to be a hard-hitting episode. This is something I struggle with every single day, and I really do. And so this episode is going to be for me just as much as it is for you. And this is something that it's constantly on my mind. And I, as you guys know from some of my past episodes, you know, I've written a couple books, and one was Fishing for Happiness. And in that book, I talk a lot about, you know, the power of writing your goals down and dreaming big. And there's a downside to that, though. You know, when you write these big, audacious goals, if you've read Good to Great, there's, you know, this big, hairy, audacious goal, this BHAG. It can lend itself to feeling every time you read the goal that, hey, I'm not there yet, right? Because it's a big goal. You have big goals in life. I assume if you're listening to this, you have some goal. There's something you want to reach. There's something out there that you're trying to either aspire to or to achieve, and you haven't received it yet, right? And that's what the purpose of a goal is write it down and every day work towards getting towards that goal and reaching that goal, hitting that summit, whatever it might be. And that's everything from wealth to health to relationships. It could be anywhere in between. And yet, when you look at these goals and you stare at them and you keep writing them down every day, it can sometimes, I don't want to use the word depressing, but I guess I will. It can sometimes get downright depressing. And I want to talk about the 3 reasons why you're not there and why it's okay, but also at the same point, not okay. And I'll explain that here in a second. I believe the very first reason, and I think this is something that is just so detrimental to society, always has been and always will, but now with the rise of social media and how many just countless hours people are spending on it every single day, I believe this one is a absolute killer, and it's comparing yourself to others. We've heard the whole, you know, trying to be like the Joneses or keeping up with the Joneses, or now it's the Kardashians. But that keeping up with the Joneses has been around for many, many, many generations now. It's not new. It's something that's probably happened from back in the caveman days, right? One caveman had a nicer cave or a rock that looked a little bit more like a real pillow, and you know, his next door neighbor's a little bit envious of him. And I believe with this whole rise of social media, we're seeing only the good side of people, right? You rarely see the mistakes and the errors and the horrible times that people go through, whether they're celebrities or influencers or even just your friends. You rarely see the bad side, right? They're putting only their best face up on the Instagrams and Facebooks and Pinterest and wherever else you spend your time. And I personally think that's horrible, because what that's doing, especially to people who maybe are insecure, maybe you're going through a bad time right now, and maybe you're just down on your luck. Maybe you lost your job, maybe you lost a loved one, or maybe you just broke up with someone or got a divorce, and it could be tough. We all have tough times, and it almost makes it worse. It's like these little daggers when you see all these happy people out there on the Facebook and Instagram, and they're doing so many cool things, and they're traveling the world, and yet we're home alone by ourselves, depressed and eating chocolate bonbons and ice cream. I get it, because I've been there. I've been in the dumps before. We all have, and I just believe that you're running the wrong race if you're comparing yourself to others. You know, and I think that's a big reason a lot of people feel like they're not where they want to be in life. It's because they keep comparing themselves to others. And even sometimes we get a little bit of contentment, you know, that little bit of fulfillment, like, man, I feel like I'm doing what God put me on this earth to do. And then all of a sudden we see our buddy, our old college friend or high school friend or ex-girlfriend, whatever it is, and all of a sudden they're doing something cooler, or they look like they just got the brand new Lexus or whatever it might be. It's a race you're never going to win. Stop running that race. It's not who you are. It's not who God intended you to be. And I think the more I look at it that way, the more that helps me out, and the more I'm able to kind of put those blinders on, if you will. And what I found personally, that's brought me a ton of abundance and a ton of happiness and a ton of fulfillment and contentment, is being happy for those people. Being happy for my college friends. I've had some people that used to work for me that are now multimillionaires, and that for a lot of people that could like really bug you, like, oh, they used to work for me, they used to report to me, and now technically they're doing better than I am, right? I get it how that can be frustrating, and I have to flip that on its head. You have to, even though it can be hard sometimes, and genuinely be happy for those people. Because the more you become angry with them or resentful or even just depressed, it is only going to be a cycle downwards. Stop running that race. That is the wrong race to compare yourself to others. That's number one. Number two, this is a really, really big problem among not just youth. A lot of people want to point to youth. This has been going on forever, and now it's just a societal thing, and that's one word, and it's patience. And I want to throw in prayer too. But patience is something that most of us lack today. And it's not your fault. This is a societal thing, right? We started with fast food, back in the 70s and 80s. And now, everything is fast, right? From getting our coffee to our internet, right? There are multiple a day phone calls to 911 from people, both young and old, by the way, who are calling 911 because their internet is not working. We're so used to having everything at our fingertips so fast, right? We get mad when Amazon doesn't deliver in a day, right? We have a shop page at Saltstrom. We get stuff usually out same day, first class, and it's usually there in 2-3 days. And we still get people that are mad at us. Like, it got there, you put an order and it got there 2 days later. That's amazing. It used to take 7 to 10 days. And now we've become a society that just wants everything so fast. We have no patience. And here's why that's such a killer. It's sabotaging getting you to where you want to be in life. And here's, I'll just give a couple good examples. I see so many people who, let's take fishing, who have this passion and want to share, and they start like a YouTube channel, they start their Instagram page, and they go hot and heavy for a month, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, and it just doesn't get the momentum they want, and they just give up. They got no patience. Do you know how long it took us to get any amount of momentum? It was a good 2 years before anyone took us seriously, and that was putting content up almost every single day for 2 years. But now everything's just about speed, and oh man, if it didn't happen to me, and once again, this is the problem, because let's just take this person, we'll call him Bo. Bo creates a YouTube channel, he's passionate about fishing or hunting or whatever it is, and he starts putting out pretty good content and stuff that he's really passionate about and has a burning desire to share this with it, and it's actually helpful, and yet it doesn't get the momentum he wants after 3 or 4 months, because he's comparing himself to others, back to number one, because he sees a group like Saltstrom that has 140,000 subscribers, and they just think, oh, it must have been so easy. It was brutally hard. It took a lot of patience, took a lot of prayer, it took a lot of faith, a lot of trust, and I feel like so many people lack that today. We all want just these quick solutions to big problems. We want quick solutions to our weight, right? We'd just rather take a diet pill, right? Even with fishing, right? People would rather just buy the shiny new lure instead of learning how to go out there and find the feeding zones. And we learned that as a company. We've always led with education. We've always led with, hey, we know if we can show these anglers how to go out there and catch more fish based on trends, like literally almost like cheating, where we're literally helping you predict where the fish will be, but that takes a little bit of time, and not even half, it's the majority of Americans who fish don't really want that. They really just kind of want the lure, because they don't really want to put the time in, because they have no patience. And I struggle with this too, all the time. Once again, I started this whole conversation off by saying I struggle with all of these, comparing myself to others. I'm constantly having to put those blinders on, and once again, change my attitude of gratitude for these and just happiness for people who might be doing something that looks cool, and also realize that what I'm seeing on social media and hearing stories of them, I'm only hearing the absolute best part. I'm only seeing the very tip of the iceberg. And the other part, of course, is just that patience is slowing down. And this is something that I struggle with amongst every part of my life, from the business. I want Salt Strong, and I want ourselves to be at a higher level. I want to impact more people. I want more families out fishing. And sometimes I got to just slow down and pray and trust God. And I think that's another really big piece of this number 2 is trusting God and thinking about, who does He want us to be? Not who we want to be, not like we want to be like the other person. Really thinking about, well, why did God give me these gifts? I think that rate, going back to the wrong race, I think the race so many of us are putting ourselves in is comparing ourselves to our neighbor, when in reality we should be comparing ourselves to our God-given potential and our calling. And I'm going to repeat that. I think that's incredibly powerful. Instead of running that race of comparing yourself to your neighbor or your friend or your coworker, we should be comparing ourselves to our God-given potential and calling. Comparing ourselves to our God-given potential and calling. What did He bless you with that was different? I have certain skills I'm realizing now that God blessed me with, and I used to be mad that I didn't have other ones, and now I'm realizing He gave me some legit power. I just got to go use it, and I got to stop comparing myself to others that might have a completely different power. Every single one of us, even if you're in the complete dumps right now, even if you're feeling like complete poop right now at the lowest low, you have some God-given gift, some God-given power that is waiting, literally just waiting. And sometimes it's just the snap of a finger that it just kicks in. And God is just waiting on you to take control of that and optimize it and share it with the world and do something big. And big doesn't have to mean that you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube. It could be anything. It could be saving one person's life. That could be the God-given talent. Who knows what it is? I can't tell you what that is. You know deep down that there's something special about you. Even at the lowest lows, you still know, hey, there's this one thing I'm pretty doggone good at. What could you be the best in the world at? Even if your competitors are only 5 people, it doesn't even matter. What could you be the best in the world at? There's something there for you. All right, the final one. Persistent and consistent action. One step at a time. I have a little plaque. It's up on my wall. It is there for me to see every single day. I will read it to you. It says, a surefire path to success is to take massive action every day. I'm going to repeat it. A surefire path to success is to take massive action every day. How many of you do it? I'll be honest with you, I don't do it every day. I struggle some days. Some days I don't feel like taking that massive action. But what I have learned is if I can just do persistent and consistent action, one step at a time, eventually things start happening. I create that flywheel. I create that momentum. Doors start opening. The right people start coming into my lives. Abundance starts coming in, happiness, fulfillment, but it all happens one step at a time. You've heard, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So many people, I watch it every day. I'm guilty of it as well. In my past life, I was super guilty of it, and it was just getting overwhelmed. You see this massive obstacle. Whether you're trying to grow your own business or you're trying to get some guy or gal to marry you, or you're trying to get a new job or buy a new car, whatever it is, we have this just massive overwhelm. And all these things tying together because 1, we don't have any patience. 2, we get frustrated because we're comparing ourselves to others. Well, they have this, I should have it, and I want it quick. And we're not taking that persistent and consistent action because we don't have the patience. That's it. I mean, this is really what I just outlined is almost kind of like the secret to life. Stop comparing yourself to others, right? Start comparing yourself to who God wants you to be. Who did God make you to be? You guys have heard me say this thing 1,000,000 times about that, the whole going up to heaven and having, God. Let's just imagine God right there at heaven's doors, at the gateway there. And, he brings up someone and he's like, I want you to meet someone, and it's you, and it's who God intended you to be. It's who's literally you at the perfection of what he gave you, of those skills and those certain gifts and powers. And one of two things are going to happen. If you guys have heard this, one, you're going to recognize this person. It's going to look like a twin because you literally did everything you could with the skills that God gave you. You took persistent and consistent action. You prayed, you had faith. You stopped comparing yourself to others and you tried to be the best version of yourself. Or two, that person is going to be unrecognizable. And I think about that all the time because that's my fear. We never know when our time's up. It might be tomorrow for some of you. Who knows? And when the time's up, that is going to happen, right? I mean, that whether it happens that way or not, that we all know that is going to happen. We're all going to have to look at the mirror and say, you know what? Am I who God is creating me to be? Am I maximizing the body and the skills, regardless, even if you can't walk or talk like my brother Daniel? Are you living up to everything God wants you to be or not? And for me, the most days, honestly, it's I'm not. I feel like I fall a little bit short, which is why I wanted to do this podcast. I think that's another big reason that so many of us feel like we're not where we want to be in life. I think too many of us we quit early when the going gets tough instead of the tough get going. I think so many of us we give up. And we quit because we don't have that patience and because we don't realize how much time people have put into to get where they are. For those people who have achieved a lot of success and have literally done everything with their gifts that God intended them to do, they had to work at it a lot. And I really do feel like so many of us are falling short. And I feel like that's one of the reasons there's a lot of animosity out there right now. I feel like a lot of us are just lashing out because we're just not happy. There's a lot of just hurt people, and a lot of it is because they're not looking at any of this. All they're doing, and I'm starting from like the bottom up, is they're looking at the wealthy and the rich, that you're just bad people. And, once again, they're comparing themselves to others, right? That it's a race you can't win. That is guaranteed to make you feel unhappy and unfulfilled and maybe even resentful to a point, you want to attack people or do bad things. And so I urge you to take all three of those things into mind. Start praying on it. Start thinking less about who you want to be based on your neighbors and what stuff you have and how big your house is going to be. I think all that's great, by the way, but only if it's because of the right reason. Only it's because you're finally using the gifts God gave you to go earn that stuff. Only if you're starting to compare yourself, not to others, but instead by our God-given potential and our God-given calling. And then finally, that persistent and consistent action. Take action every single day towards these goals that you have written down that you do want to achieve, and don't ever let them bring you down. Only let it excite you and build you up and just get you pumped for the future. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you have any other feedback on that or questions, or just want to shoot me a hello and say, Joe, thank you for that. And thank you for being honest and candid and letting you know I struggle with all of this stuff, which is once again why I can talk about it pretty easily for 20 minutes without stopping. It's because it's in my head. Because I deal with it. I struggle with it. It's stuff that I constantly have to fight and remind myself these three things. So I love you. I really appreciate you all. And if you want to help out and support it all, come join us over at Salt Strong on the Insider Club. That's how we pay for all this stuff, and it's another big reason I do this. We're trying to unite families and serve fishermen and honor God and Jesus Christ in everything we do, which is our mission statement. So we really appreciate you. And if I could do anything, hit me up. My email, Joe, @saltstrong.com. See you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul, it was past